So the gist of the statement is runtime polymorphism is equal to dynamic method dispatches. It is the JVM who is going to perform the late binding, meaning I'm talking in simple English, the method which which method to send for execution, or to be precise, the method of which object to send for execution. Is it decided by compiler or is it decided by runtime system as in JVM? Answer is it is decided by the JVM. If you don't understand it in the theoretical manner, answer is here. So here, when you say P equal to student1, because of upcasting, thanks to this upcasting, every student is a person, is a relationship via extents. Compiler allows this assignment. Compiler implicitly does this assignment. But which line the runtime polymorphism is kicking in is, here is where it is happening. So runtime system does not go by the type of the reference, but instead it goes by the type of the object what it is pointing to. So which method, or rather to be precise, the method toString to be called on person, student or faculty, that is decided at the runtime, which is nothing but your runtime polymorphism. So this is happening, this assignment is allowed thanks to upcasting because you are climbing up the hierarchy. And as I said multiple times, can you say a student is a person? Of course, yes. Can I say faculty is a person? Of course, yes. So that works automatically thanks to inheritance. And JVM is going to resolve it at the runtime. Exactly like you have seen, if you have seen the runtime polymorphism in C++, we achieve it from the base class pointer pointing to derived class object. Of course, virtual keyword was required here. In Java, there is no virtual keyword. So it happens automatically thanks to JVM. So just to state the fact, just to confirm the understanding with you all, this line, is it an example of a direct referencing or indirect referencing? D or I, direct referencing. This is what? Indirect referencing, or to be more precise, this is your indirect referencing. What is the type of the RHS? Faculty. What is the type of the LHS? Person. So is the type of the reference same as the type of the object? It's a Boolean question, yes or no? Answer is no. Are you climbing up the hierarchy or are you climbing down the hierarchy? Hierarchy means inheritance hierarchy. You're going from faculty to person. So this is allowed. Every faculty is a person. And at the runtime, the JVM will decide the method toString to be called on which object depending on the actual runtime object. So in short, here when you say p.toString, it expands to, and JVM will invoke the toString on which object? On faculty's object. And here, as you saw, the students toString, oh sorry, this is not the one. Here the JVM will call, JVM invokes students toString. So this is the gist. This is the summary with a very simple example. Now I'm going to do something else. Just give me a minute. Okay. So I'm doing something further. You just observe and conclude. Observe and conclude. No, I'll ask you questions and you tell me, please. Anyone wants to tell me what is this O? Is it a reference or is it an object? It's a reference type of variable, right? Everyone knows that. It's not an object. It's an object type of reference. Okay, the name of the class is object. This is a reference type of variable. So let me ask you, how many objects are created when this line is executed? 0, nothing. The memory is allocated 4, 8 or 16 depending on the JVM on the stack. Everyone knows that. So anyone wants to tell me, if I say O is equal to, let's say I can do anything, but anyway, so let me say this. O is equal to, so tell me, after adding the semicolon, compiler error or no error? Answer is zero error. Why it is? Because anyone wants to tell me why it is? You know the answer. Of course, it is upcasting. So can you tell me what is compiler checking? Compiler is checking is student object. Tell me yes or no. In Java, everything extends from object. So student, exactly. Student is a person, is an object. So can I say student is an object? 100% yes. The moment there is a relationship, compiler okays it. You got me? Now, more interesting question. So if I say sysout of O, can you tell me what will be the output? So toString method will be called, definitely. But toString method will be called on what? So in short, hash code details, person details, first name, last name, or the entire student details. You are absolutely right. Because JVM figures it out by the type of the instance, type of the object it is referring to. And what is it referring to? It is referring to student. So let me just change the details. I'm not changing it really. I mean, I don't want to like. So let's say something, some other thing. I'm just playing with the data so you know you can understand what is happening, or you'll see the output differently. So just observe the last line of the output. So can you see this? I mean, you have already answered, very nice. So can you see the complete student details accessed via object type of reference? So this is the this is the runtime polymorphic behavior, or nothing but runtime polymorphism. And I'm sure you can understand this also. New faculty. Okay, I'll just copy the faculty data as before and just make some changes. So sorry. Okay, just for this. And let's say the database the faculty knows is maybe MySQL, something. So now, if I say sysout, oh, tell me, at this point, whose details you are going to see? Whose toString method will be called on which object? The faculty's object, and you will be able to see all these details in a second. Confirm. No, you have to be very clear, absolutely clear, because people ask you a lot of confusing questions on this. So this is definitely happening via runtime polymorphism. It is the JVM who is performing the late binding, in the sense a particular functionality. Which functionality we are talking about? ToString functionality to be called on object type, person type, student type, or faculty. That is decided late. Late means at the time when the objects are assigned, when the reference is assigned to the object. So it is called as runtime polymorphism. Last question before we actually start writing that event organizer app. In these lines of code, are there any objects marked for garbage collection or none? Is there any object? Of course, yes. Everyone knows that. See, earlier, this particular Rama 123 waste object is marked for garbage collection because there was only one valid reference O, and we have reassigned it. That is just on the sideline. Today's topic is not garbage collection, but I should always tell you the fact. So this is about your runtime polymorphic behavior. So now we can start writing together. If you, together means if you want together, you can write. Otherwise, you can do it in the lab session, the whole revision. So I had already told you what I want. So we are going to build event organizer app. We already discussed. Now you'll understand better answer or in a better manner. Can person type of a reference refer to student as well as faculty? It's a Boolean question. Of course, yes. And that is where you will see completely the use cases of upcasting. And once I get a feel that you have settled on upcasting, of course, I'm going to explain downcasting. So first, we always do it why it is required or when it is required, the use case, then the concept, and then the implementation. So right now, just focus on upcasting. So let me just take this as the problem statement. So I have already got, we've already got this faculty, person, student, and we are writing here another tester namely event organizer. Okay, and of course, since it is a what do you say, runnable application, I'm adding the main method, adding a problem statement here, so everyone knows this. Okay, so oh, my mistake. I mean, spelling mistake. It doesn't look good. There's my rename, refactor. So right click on it, refactor rename is the option. Okay, so correctly spelled. Fine. So now let's start. So you tell me, scanner required or not required? Will the scanner be required? Of course. Otherwise, how will you take those user details? I mean, student details and the faculty details. So that is the basic stuff. See, what I'm showing you is the template, which you always write in the. I mean, this doesn't change. Template means repetitive code, standard code. People are still forgetting to close it, guys. Today it won't hurt you, but when you enter socket programming or file programming, if you don't close the device, that a scanner holding a socket or a file, you will run into problems. So this is standard. Anyone wants to tell me what is the first question you are going to ask to user? I'll know from your answer whether you are understanding or not. What is it you are going to ask user first? Wrong answer. No, are you a student or a faculty is not? No, choose the option is wrong. Total number of participants. Because guys, the only data structure I have shown you or ma'am has shown you is array. Is array fixed size or growable? Fixed size. So you have to know what is the maximum capacity of that event or a hall or a meeting, whatever you are organizing. So first start with that. Enter total number of or maximum persons. So instead of person, I'm just calling it as participant. But don't think that there is a participant class. The class which we are going to use is person, but doesn't sound how many persons. You can write anything. Better English. So enter maximum number of participants. So user suppose enters it. Now next line has to come from you. Give me the next line. I have to create a suitable data structure which can you have the answer in front of you, which can store either the student details as well as faculty details. Give me that. Next line you are typing. Guys, Rucha, wake up. Is it an integer array you are going to create after so much of discussion? If you say Rucha, integer array, all you can store is integers. I don't want to store integers. I want to store student and a faculty detail. So what is common type? No. Object array is this one. It is two at a superclass. I'll tell you the disadvantage of object array little later. So here, all you have common between student and faculty is a person. So let us just climb to the next level. I mean upper level. And here, creator. I am not going to do it in 2 lines, guys. I have given you sufficient practice in arrays. So person, control space. When you say control space, it will automatically import. Why import is required? Person and all those person related classes are in the separate package. So here, person array. Let me call it as participants because they are participant members or members, whatever you can say. Participants, new person array. And what should be the argument? How do I read the size of the array? It is always integer. Sc dot next end. So if user says, for example, 20 participants is my limit for the hall or for that virtual meeting or whatever we create. In that case, how many objects will be created by this line? Tell me. This is a revision of array of references. Of course, one. Nobody should say 0. One array object of the type person array. And what will be those 20 slots? Okay, forget 20 slots. First slot is CP, class pointer, pointing to the loaded array class. Next is the length. What will be the length of value of the length? 20. And what will be those 20 slots filled with? Zeros or nulls. How can you say objects? Where there are objects created? Have I registered a single member yet? No. Guys, what is it? Is it an array of objects or is it array of references? Array of references. And what is the default value of a reference? Null. Yesterday I have shown you all that. arrays.toString karke. So here, of course, this is all filled with nulls. Default initialized state. So this is nothing but your array of references. I take on a day only one concept and then give you overnight to settle on it. So this is what it is. So one array object is created, which is full of 20, just a number, 20 nulls. Okay, so this is for on condition. For on means initialization startup. I'm seeing that there are different ways you are using for, while loop and all. So standard way, I'm not saying that yours is better or mine is better or whatever. I'm just using a standard way. I declare a exit flag. I don't want to exit yet. So I'm initializing the exit flag to false so that I have a simple loop while not exit. So this is a template. This kind of a code will continue to be there till I take you to like almost like advanced Java where you have web programming and web components and all that. Then the program structure changes. Now here user means event organizer, anchor person, whoever is the coordinator of this event is going to you have to present him or her options. So I would always, why write only options once and rely on her memory? So give the options in the loop. So here these are the options user can go ahead with. You can add new lines and all that if you whatever you want. So suppose I say first is register a student registration. Next option is you can write on same line, new line, all depending on you. Register a faculty. And then initially I'm just adding a simple options, display all. That is display details of all the participants. Display all details. Or okay, I'll freeze it properly. Display details of all participants. Okay, and I have to give an exit option, so I'll make it as 100. I mean, you can say 0, 100, whatever is the exit option. 100% clear so far. There is nothing which is different or which is difficult here. Are we clear? The looping structure and all that. Okay. Next one. Now you have to tell user to choose the option. So as to choose option. Okay. And here, then you are choosing option is what? Switch casing. So just type SW control space. It will give you switch case. I mean, the generic thing. So what will be the key here? Anyone? What will be the key? What will be the switch argument? sc.nextend. Guys, Java allows you to give the entire string also. You can switch case on the strings. To keep it simple, we are saying 1 because I said that already. Case 1. I'll just create defaults you don't require. I'll just create 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of options, 1, 2, 300 options. So I'm keeping this all. Oh, look at me. I wanted to say next and I ended up writing something else. So I'll just create this 4 options. And here I'll change this to 1, 2. Finish this template kind of a thing in a minute. And here, what should I toggle? What should I do in case 100? I want to terminate the application. So what should I do in case 100? Just toggle the exit flag to true. So exit equal to true. The moment you say exit equal to true, while not exit will become false. While loop is over. See here, this is that while loop which is over. Main method is over. So you're closing the scanner and all that. Your main is over. Your application is over. Okay. So you don't require system.exit or anything of the sort. Okay. So that's it. So now focus on individual cases, one at a time. So what is the first one? One is a student registration. So now I'm asking you important question. This is all business functionality, law, actual practical functionality. You're organizing an event, right? So tell me, here, should I directly prompt for user details, student details, or should I do the boundary checking? Boundary checking means checking whether there is a space to accommodate. Boundary checking is required or not required? Of course required. So I've forgotten. See, with arrays, things are a little more work. Wait for array list and vectors and hash maps coming up. Your code will become so easy. So here, I'm maintaining a counter. That counter I'm initializing. It's a method local variable, initializing the counter to 0. That is, no one has participated. I mean, there's no participation yet. So now, what is that boundary condition I should check? Here, tell me. I have to check because array is of the fixed size. So can you tell me the code? Not I. Where is that I? Suprabha, there's no I here. There is a, you're not going to write a loop. I've got a counter variable. So talk in proper manner. If counter is less than, tell me. If it is less than, not 20. Who told you 20? It is all runtime. It is all dynamic. So how do you get the dynamically this? Participants dot length. If counter is less than, what is that array name? Participants dot length. Okay. So if it is less than participants dot length, I don't want to have the counter value is. So let's talk about this. Suppose I say my capacity, event capacity is 2. Initially, what is the value of counter? 0. Is 0 less than 2? Yes. So I will accept the details counter plus plus. Counter becomes 1. Next time, there is only one slot is filled. Next time, if 1 is less than 2, so I can accept that. But after that, for the third time, counter will exceed. So here, if it is less than, you can accept the registration. Else you can give an error message. What is that error message? Can you store the participant details or is your event capacity full? Answer is event full. Try later or try for the next event. Are you understanding simple statements? Because I could see that you understand the concepts, but sometimes, you are unable to put it in a syntax. Okay. So this is your boundary condition. Wait for 2 more days. Tomorrow is the day of interfaces. So maybe tomorrow or day after, I'm going to start you on exception handling. Once you understand that exception handling, try, catch and all that, we will do it in a much better manner. Okay, so this is it for today. So now, here if I come, do I have the space in my array or capacity? Do I have the capacity to store the student details? Of course, yes. Okay, so I will ask the user. See, you should always write a user-friendly course. UI, UX has to be good. So here, enter student details. I told you yesterday was hard coding because your first day of inheritance. Today you can manage, I hope, I'm sure. So I hope I'm correct. I mean, enter student details, but poor end user doesn't know in which form you want it. So always help in the sense. See, I'm showing you all good programming techniques. So please follow them. Don't take off from whatever wrong things you have been doing. Change, correct yourself, change yourself. So here I just copied that constructor thing. So here user has to enter the first name, last name, graduation here. I hope you are understanding the tricks. I'm showing you all the tricks also, so that without wasting too much time, how do you get it? So now there is no ambiguity, right? So here I'm going to write the right hand side, or rather you can tell me what should be done on the right hand side. With this information, which object you want to create, what type of object you want to create. Absolutely correct. Yes, this is the kind of thing I want. So when you talk to me in Java, I understand you completely, and then I don't have to say that it is a vague question and all that. So try talking in Java. Of course you are right. New student. Okay, and then everyone knows how do I read the first name, which is a string from the scanner. Give me the method name, please. How do I read the next token? Of course, the method is sc.next. You're right. See, so this doesn't touch only on inheritance polymorphism, revises so many things, including array of references. So next one. So first name, last name is also this. Now the next one is graduation year. It's an integer. So which is the method to read the integer? Next end. The name of the course is again a string. So sc.next. Fees were double. So sc.next double. Marks are, I think, integer. So sc.next end. Are we totally clear so far? I'm explaining and I'm writing it so that you should get the concept as well as hands-on. 100% clear? Okay. So now please tell me, when I say the student object is created, of course it is created on the heap, preceded by the student class loading. But can you tell me this object, will it be created in this person array, within the array, or outside? Same statements I had made all the time. People are still saying within. Guys, wake up. This is your array of references. Individual slot in the array is only 4 or 8 bytes long to store the pointer. And the student details are so many. How can it fit? So the student object, we have done this. Refer to your yesterday's diagram of that box array and all. So student object is created elsewhere on the heap. And now what I want to do is, I want to add its pointer, its reference in the array. So can anyone tell me what should be the LHS, please? Give me the LHS, please. Participants of counter. I'll say counter plus plus also. Because, then I don't have to do the counter increment in the second line. Of course, it is going to be participants of counter. I have kept the counter for that reason, for the reason of indexing, right? So counter, and everyone knows this is what? Post increment or pre increment? Tell me. So post increment. So for the first time, if the student registers, what will be the value of counter? 0. And after that, it will become 1. So this was all the basic part. But now, reach the, real deal, real part. Anyone wants to tell me what is the type of the RHS? Is it an object? Is it a student? Is it a person or whatever? It is a student. What is the type of the LHS, guys? Tell me the type of LHS, please. No. I don't want these answers. Person. Person is the correct answer. See, guys, take it here. It will tell you it is nothing but person array participants. So what is one slot? Participants of 0 is type of a person. And how come Java is allowing me that? What is the reason why this works? Everyone knows the answer. What is why person type of a reference is able to refer to student type of object? Upcasting. Are you understanding the effective use case, the real life example? Otherwise, it is impossible to accept student details, faculty details, guest speaker details and put it in the same array. It would have been impossible. So this is nothing but upcasting, meaning person type of a reference, which is the LHS, can directly refer to student. Are you understanding the practical use case of upcasting? The whole thing is, I'm going to repeat it for faculty, Nilesh. So that time you'll get your revision. So you start dictating now. You take a look at this and you please tell me, Nilesh, for example, those who are still confused after all this explanation, start telling me about the faculty. So instead of, boring others with the same discussion, similar thing you are going to see in faculty, and I'm sure there you will be clearer. Of course, it will give error. You have to try such things instead of asking me. You have a lab session for all of that. So tell me, what should I do here? What is this case? This is your faculty registration. Everyone agrees with me? Okay, start telling me. So, should I ask for faculty details or should I do the boundary checking? Where is your attention, Nilesh? Counter plus plus. Observe here. This is not clear, you said. Arey, this is a post increment. You are not done the operators. You have done operators in the COP. This is your post increment. So first the value of the counter is 0. So participants of 0, suppose student registers will be having a student object. Then after that, your counter will be incremented. If Nilesh, you are not clear, here you can do it in 2 lines. I hate to do it in 2 lines, but what else? I mean, if people don't understand, I have to. This is equivalent to that. Are you understanding it now, at least this one? Nilesh? Okay. So this is nothing but a post increment operator, which you should be knowing by now. Okay. So faculty registration. Should I do the boundary condition or should I directly take the faculty details? Or okay, I'll rephrase the question. What will happen if I don't perform the boundary condition and directly take the faculty details? Which exception we may enter? Which exception you might get? What is the name of the famous exception? Array index out of bounds. Okay. So we don't want to break our code just because user goes out of bounds, right? So here, do the checking. Same checking. That's why, Nilesh, I did not repeat or brief the whole thing. So here, Again, you have to do if counter is less than array size. So if it is less than participants.length, then fine. Then you have a space in your event to accommodate more this. Else, you know this else already. Event is full, registration closed for now or whatever. Try in the next event. You can give suitable error messages. Are we clear in the else branch? This much at least is clear to everyone. You have to revise all this in the lab before I join you and be ready. When you have code in front of you, you can ask me the better questions, provided you have gone through it, not just out of blue. Okay, now what should I prompt for? Should I prompt for faculty details or should I prompt for, what is it called? Student details. Of course, faculty. It's a faculty registration option. So what happens in the real time is faculty sends an email to the admin, to the event organizer, please register with her details, faculty details, and event organizer does the registration. That way it is. Under the admin role, under the organizer role, we are doing it. So here I'm saying enter your details or enter faculty details to be precise. And again, as a standard this, please don't leave the user in dark. You have to handhold the user what is the sequence. Otherwise, if the sequence is messed up, your code will not work. It will blow up. So rest of the things are years and SME. So here I'm doing same things. That's why I did not revise earlier branch again. So here it is. Experience in years, and the next one is subject matter expertise. Okay, so now next line has to come from you. Try out everyone. I'm giving you a full minute. Write the next line. You can write it in short form. I don't want the full line. I just give me. I got the answer from Yash already. But you try it out. You don't look at his answer. Yes, participants counter plus plus equal to new faculty. Precisely. So absolutely correct. Absolutely right. Great going, guys. So here again, I'm going slow for each and every one of you. With IT or with CS or without CS are all equivalent to me. I'm handling it at that level that with the people with Java background or CS background might feel little bored. Doesn't matter. Boring is okay. Not understanding is not okay. Okay. So tell me, what should I create? Whose object should I create this time? Of course, a faculty object. What else? And here as before, first name is string. Last name is string. And then is your experience, number of years you have been training. So integer, and whatever are your, what is it called? Subject matter expertise. So sc.next. But here, when you say sc.next, current, okay, let me ask you, why should I explain? When I say sc.next, and if I give my subject matter expertise as Java, space React, space whatever, MySQL, how many tokens it will read out of it? When I say sc.next, only one token. So at the time of giving, we'll give it in the comma separated manner. So things will be read. Or currently we will give only one technology as our expertise. Later you can replace. If you want to read the entire next line, you can have a method such as sc.nextLine exactly and read the whole stuff. So that's a small detail. Today it is not important. Now, if I create it and assign it to faculty F, so what will you call it? Is it a direct referencing or is it an indirect referencing? It is a direct referencing. So what is the harm in it? I'm happy. I can happily do the direct referencing. The harm is this reference variable is separate. So when you start solving the next one, you know, or rather to be precise, this details will not be accessible from that person array. So when I come to the next line, when I say display all the participant details, how can I access this particular faculty details? So in practical scenarios, direct referencing hardly works. It doesn't work all the time. What you generally end up using is indirect referencing. So what is the left-hand side? Person type of a reference can refer to any of its subtypes. So what is that subtype? faculty here. So I'm again going for participants of. Now allow me to write it in one line. Counter plus plus post increment. So suppose situation is I've got only capacity for 2. Suppose student has already registered. So what will be the value of the counter if student has already registered? 1. So here 1 is less than 2. So I can accept the faculty. Now third time again another faculty wants to register. So will we be able to register her, or will you get this error message? Of course, error message, because now the counter has reached 2. 2 is not less than 2. So that is how we have taken care of boundary condition. Or how long you have to struggle till this? Till you learn collection framework in Java, that is data structures, growable dynamic data structures. So till then you have to do all such stuff. Later you will see things become simpler going ahead. So these are the two use cases, two options. Are we 100% clear so far? Because I think I'm going sufficiently slow. Okay, and we already explained the concept. I'm just putting it in the practical this. So now case 3 is display details of all participants. Okay, so before you start solving, what I'll do is I'll stay back. I'll stay quiet. You tell me. Can you write this code for me? It's a 2-liner code. Again, I'm saying when you are typing the code, I'm not expecting the full-fledged code. Even if you can give me a clue, I'm okay with that. No, not that kind of a clue. Not that kind of a clue. Write something in Java. Answer is I can do it with for as well as for each. So somebody has said this. For each participants, this SOP P dots this. Oh, so you are use the for each technique. So I'll say this. Of course, you are right, but there's a small problem. So here, if you use for, what will be the range for int I equal to 0, I less than what? I said, if you go by for loop, what will it be? Rohan is right. Counter. So guys, suppose I have allocated the event capacity as 40. But people on the number of people who turned up, who registered is only 20. So my first 20 slots are filled with the addresses of either student or faculty. But what is still sitting in those remaining 20 slots? What is sitting in that remaining 20 slots? Null. Are you getting it? So if you want to exactly go over the participants which have already registered, for loop int I equal to 0, I less than counter will do the job. But I want to give you the practice of for each. So we are going to solve it. Again, I'm saying for will work, but to give you the practice of for each, later you will understand collection framework everywhere we use for each. So here, dictate for each. Some of you had already answered. So for each person P in participants. Okay. And here, what is the next line? You remember we have overridden the toString method from object till student and faculty. So if I say only SOP P, here focus your attention. Focus your attention on the things. So anyone wants to tell me what will be the first implicit assignment? I have done this all day before. So for the for each, what will be the first iteration for this? It's a copy of reference. So P equal to participants of 0. Very right. So can you see it is I'm revising the earlier one and showing you new. So participants of 0. Sorry. And then will be participants of 1 and all that. And what will be the last one, guys? Let me copy. What will be the index of the last one? Here it will be too much to. I've messed up in the spellings, by the way. Anyway, ignore that. Dot length -1. Everyone gets this? But guys, here some of the participants, some of the slots could be empty as a null. So do you want to show the null values or do you want to perform the null check? Of course, showing null values is not considered as a good output at all. So here you do the null check. Okay, so what is that null check? If P is not equal to null, that means there is a person who is registered. That means that slot has the address and all that. We'll draw the memory pictures. Remind me in the lab session to draw the memory picture for this. It is very interesting. It has array of references also and inheritance related stuff also. Going ahead. Now read this. For each person P in participants, starting with P equal to participants of 0 till the end, if the participant, if there is nothing there, if there is a null, I don't want to display null values. So I'm checking if it is not equal to null. This is nothing but your null checking. All this is required before we enter your collection framework. And here, most important thing. So focus all your energy, attention here. Don't focus it on other statements. So tell me, can anyone tell me what is the type of the reference here? Quickly, I've given you a lot of time or a lot of practice. What is the type of the reference? Very right answer. It is P, and answer is in front of you. So no ambiguity. Type of the person, type of the reference is object. I am so sorry, type of the reference is person. And can you tell me what will be the type of the object? Type of the object means type of the instance. Anyone wants to tell me what will be the type of the object? Can it be student and faculty, or will it be student or faculty and or? Guys, how can it be both? Of course, it could be either student or faculty. Answer is depends. Depends on what? Totally dependent on the runtime. At runtime, suppose you have this registration. This is an array symbol. And suppose I say first 2 faculties registered. Okay. Then couple of students registered. Okay. So I hope you are understanding. And remaining slots are maybe null because nobody else registered. Okay. So kind of. You understand what I'm saying? What do you understand by this? This is I'm showing you array of references. So who has done the registrations for the first, who has done the initial registrations? 2 faculties. Then 3 students have registered, and then the remaining all slots are null, empty. Got the inputs? Because I'm going to ask you a question. So can you tell me, as per your dynamic method dispatch is equal to runtime polymorphism, for the first iteration of the loop, JVM will call toString method on which object? Question is long, answer is so easy. Of course, faculty. Of course, F1. Faculty type of object. How about the second loop, second iteration? Again, faculty. Are we understanding it? I hope you are enjoying this. And for the next 3 iteration, it will call it on which type of object? Everything is governed by the type of the object, student type of object. And is it going to access any of this? Of course not. I have given the null check. So I'll stay quiet for the complete 1 minute. Run it in your mind and tell me, are you understanding the impact or the practical use case of runtime polymorphism? Without you checking whether it is a student or a faculty, or without you going into the details, everything is done by the JVM, resolved in the later time as in runtime, depending on the type of the object. I'm keeping quiet. Are we understanding it, guys? Unless until you see the example, concept sounds shaky and you feel lost about what is happening and why she's doing it and all that. Okay, so let's try this out. Let's run it and you'll get a better clarity even. So here, so it is. You'll see it, Himanshu, in a minute. Just now I talked about the whole answer is runtime polymorphism. Anyway, so suppose I'm saying 3. I'm just choosing a small capacity so I can show you. So here, Suppose faculty decides to register first. I mean, doesn't matter, any sequence. So I'm getting the faculty details. I'm just starting a series A1, B1, 10, and let's say Java. So you can check. Since faculty is a person, it is first calling superclass constructor thanks to our super first name, last name, and faculty object. Okay. So now, if I directly say 3, tell me, what is it you expect to see? How many participants we have added, registered? Only 1. So Himanshu was asking, how will it print student and faculty details? That is where I spent the whole last 1 hour on. So that is nothing but the runtime polymorphism. JVM goes by the type. So here, you remember that loop for each person P in participants. If P is not equal to null, for the first iteration, P is not equal to null. So where is P pointing to? Tell me, faculty object Himanshu or student object? It is faculty object. So whose toString it will automatically call? Of course, faculties. Check. So are you understanding? These are the faculty details, first name, last name, teaching experience and expertise in a domain. Got this? And why it is not showing you null? Because we have done the null checking. If you don't do the null checking, then of course you'll see null, 2 nulls will be there. Next one. Suppose now 2 students are registering. I mean, 1 by 1, of course. So here, oh, sorry, I used by mistake register faculty. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So let's say I wanted to say student registration. So now I'll say 15 years and maybe I'm expert in UI or whatever, front end technology such as JavaScript, Node, and I mean, not Node, JavaScript, I mean. So you have this and you keep confirming. That is why you have written that. So here, the first faculty is this thing details, second faculty is details. Now I'm saying register a student. So let's say A3, B3, graduation year, course taken, let's say Spring Boot or whatever, fees, and marks obtained. So again, keep observing. The whole flow is in front of you. I've given a lot of SOPs. And when I say 3, what do you expect to see now? What details you expect to see? Faculty 1, faculty 2, followed by student. Okay. So here is your, this is array is what? A sequential ordered collection. So from at the 0th index of the array, whose reference is stored? This faculty reference is stored, faculty object reference. In the second slot, another faculty object reference, and in the third slot, student's reference. Now, if I try to register again, what is it expected to happen? Will it accept the registration or will it? Yeah, I already got the answer. It should say event full because your slots are over. Your array capacity is full. What are the references? Which are the references which are sitting there? F1 means faculty 1, faculty 2, and student 1. So this is about your, so if you say this, this is showing you all this, and this is where I'm terminating the app. Are we understanding 2 important concepts of upcasting and method overriding? Okay, give yourself some time and then you come back with the questions. You're just looking at it for the first time. Some of you maybe. Those who with having a C++ background have the similar things. We have a very similar thing. Only thing is there is a pointers and all that. Okay. So now I'll ask you some more questions to confirm whether you are understanding at all. So let us add the new option here. Option 4. So listen to this. Whenever any participant, be it a student or a faculty, does the registration, our application will give the seat number. The seat numbers will be allocated in a sequential manner. So tell me, do we start our seat number business from 0 or 1? Do you give the seat number as 0 or do you start it typically with 1? Okay. So here is the question. So can you tell me the one who registers first, what will be the seat number given to that person? 1, next 2, next 3 till the length, right? But the actually array indices start with 0 to length -1. So remember to offset it by -1 and all that. Okay, I've already given you the clue. So now let us say, listen to this. Now suppose registration part is done. And now what? The organizer, event organizer wants to find out a particular participant details. So here, display specific participant details. And what is the input which you are going to take from user is the seat number. See, I always try to give it practically because concepts get so boring after a while, and then you start feeling sleepy and all. Whenever you are supposed to solve something, your brain immediately is activated. It's like a challenge. Okay, so the input will be the seat number, and of course you'll have to do the validation first because I can give any arbitrary seat number 1, 2, 3, 4, which may not exist, which doesn't exist at all. Okay, so you have to do the validations, boundary condition checking. And if that seat is really occupied means reserved for a particular participant, show me the participant details. So as usual, is the question clear or not clear? Tell me. Yes, question is, you are not going to ask the seat number. It's not a priority seat number. Seat numbers you are going to assign. So you're not going to ask for seat number during registration. Wrong thinking. So I hope clear. If it is not clear, it will become clear. So think about it. I will add the additional option to our code. You are going to think about that boundary condition checking. Yesterday, I already helped you in one of your assignments. So I hope you will be able to answer. So let me modify my menu. So let's say for display specific participant details. Okay. Okay. And here, let us add a case 4 for that. Don't forget the break, otherwise it will just fall through and your application will terminate and all of that. So tell me, what is it you are going to ask to user? User means end user. What is the input you are going to take? What is it you want? You are asking user. Yes, the seat number. So here, enter seat number. You got it? Now, here, the seat number has to be mapped to the array index. So I will write the left-hand side and you give me the RHS. How to find out array index from the seat number? You are ahead of time and that will kill you, Yash. So I'll just go systematically. So seat number is integer. So what will it happen? SC dot next int -1. You can't directly apply to array. You'll get array index out of bounds. You have to do the boundary condition checking, Yash. Okay, so I have got it. So now, can you tell me what will be the valid range? So I want to say, if the index is in the valid range, show the details. Otherwise, give the error message, invalid seat number. So dictate this condition. So if this condition, then show the details, else error message. Exactly similar thing I told you yesterday. Tell me. What condition? I hope you're typing some condition. Wrong answer, Pankaj. Try again. Okay. So not greater than, greater or equal to. The index can be 0 also. Guys, here I have subtracted from seat number. Seat number starts from 1 to length, array length. And the indices start from 0 to length -1 to little bit of logic building. Okay. So here, if index is less than, sorry, greater than or equal to 0, which is the one this. Should I use or should I use and? Or how can the index be greater than 0 and equal to 0 and this? Or if sorry, my mistake. I'm so sorry. The boundary condition and because this is a validation check, correct check. If it was an invalid one, I would have used or. If index is greater than 0, greater or equal to 0, and index is less than, tell me what should be the value here? Wrong, guys. Aniket is right. You have got only counter participants dot length. So the array length may be 100, but only 50 participants turn up. So you have to check for that counter value. So index is less than counter. Then only, see, because the other seats are unoccupied, what is sitting in that slot is null. So do you really want to show null? I hope not. So in that case, you have a, you want to display. So how do I display? Here, now that display part is very easy. Anyone wants to tell me? You had done this earlier, guys. Only thing is you are not validating. That's why. Yes, please. How to display? You have overridden that toString and you have seen that method overriding and the whole thing. So just now. So here you can say, what I can say is participants of index, and that's it. Do I have to explicitly call toString? Of course not. When you see the internals about println, you will see that it automatically calls attaches dot toString. And we have an else condition to take care of. So today there is no exception handling. When I take you to exception handling, I'll show you. You can throw your custom exceptions and all that. But today we are not there. In 2 days we'll be there. So sys out and here invalid seat number. And you can always say something like try again and all that. Are you getting it? So can you tell me in this whole section, in which line number runtime polymorphism is happening? Line number, let me check. 63 is a very right answer. So as usual, I'll keep revising it till you say you are bored. So here, can anyone tell me what is the type of participants of index? Person, absolutely right. But does JVM go by type of the reference or type of the object? R or O? It goes by type of the object. So can you tell me where this will be, what will be the type of the object? Answer is depends. Depends on what? Depends on the actual runtime, how the registration has happened. So for example, on this seat, suppose a student is sitting. Means what? Participants of index is pointing to student type of object. So the toString will get called on which type of object? Of course, that student. And if suppose faculty is sitting in that seat, it will be calling, I mean JVM, it means JVM. JVM will be calling, deciding it at runtime, depending on type of the object. That is the use case of your runtime polymorphism. Confirm? So suppose I say 10, I'm just using something. So suppose I do the student registration, A1, B1, course, fees, and the marks. Okay, I'll just go for the other one, faculty. Experience in years, and this, let's say something real. So that's it. And you can add, okay, one more I'll add just. So one more this inputs, E3, graduation year. And the course taken is boot, maybe Spring Boot, that is. Fees are something, and the marks obtained. Okay. So first check whether your array is filled correctly, as in option 3. So tell me, look at this and tell me, is your data stored correctly? Are you understanding the array of references pointing to the actual objects stored elsewhere in the heap? Are we clear from this output or not? I've yet to test that seat number 1, the initial one I'm showing. So now if I say, what is it? 3 I have got. So if I say 4, what is it which will happen? If I say this, what will happen? What are the seat numbers allotted so far? What are the seat numbers? 1, 2, 3. So here, no, you did not understand me. Of course, it is going to prompt. I'm saying if I prompt for the seat number such as 4, okay, go one by one. So here, if I say 4, now, so what is expected to happen? invalid seat number. Why? Because I have entered the details of 3. So which are the seat numbers allocated in the incremental manner? 1, 2, 3. So how can 4 work? Of course not. If I say 4 and if I give any value, wrong value, our code is fail proof. You should always attempt to write full proof, fail proof code. Okay. So again, invalid seat number. But now if I say, for example, oh, actually I have done, no, I thought have I done coded wrongly? No, I have not. So suppose if I say 1, can you tell me whose details? Of course, it won't be invalid. So whose details will be printed? Go by the name of the person, please. Tell me the first name of the person whose details. Of course, A1. This is the one who is occupying seat 1, index 0. Oh, I messed up. I messed up totally. My problem, my bad. I said the option as 1. So sorry. I'll add one more. Doesn't matter. We can just, it just got delayed. A4, B4, graduation year. Something, course taken. Let's say Angular. Then the fees paid. And the marks obtained. I messed up. So now let me say, display the specific participant options. And now I got 4 participants. And if I say enter the seat number 1, so you can see you had given me the answer. I only messed up. I made a mistake. So you can see that. And since there are 4, they are occupied on 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I say 4 and seat number 4, the last one which we entered, which one we entered last? A4, B4, and the ones which went for Angular. Okay, so A4, B4 details are getting printed. Is the concept and the implementation all clear? 100% clear? Because that is how you're going to understand the whole object-oriented programming fundamentals. So this was about your upcasting and runtime polymorphism. So now let us take you further. Okay, I'm giving another requirement. Okay, so before I say this, have I written it so that I don't have to upcasting and all is done? Okay, I have written it, so I'll just take it, Actually, okay, let's not waste time. So what you are going to enter soon, I'm skipping that because I'll talk about it little later, 10 minutes later. So now you have learned upcasting, but you will see that sometimes you do need downcasting, which is equivalent to your narrowing conversion. You remember automatic conversion, automatic promotion was a widening conversion in primitive types. And then there is a typecasting or the narrowing conversion. Can anyone give me the example? Absolutely not. Vinod, the whole idea is not to have separate arrays. Vinod, I'm answering you. Suppose if I tomorrow change it, wait a second, I'm talking to Vinod. Here, if you say 2 arrays, today fine, it is okay. But then you have to manage the counter arithmetic, so complicated. And forget the complication part of it. What if tomorrow I bring in guest speaker, lab faculties, or the office staff, or my center head? Are you seriously going to create a different arrays for all these types and keep breaking your code? I hope your answer is no. So that is your answer. Kunal, if you don't do the null checking, you try it out, Kunal. Everything I'm not going to answer. So it is a more lab-like question. Read it, do it, try it out and talk to me in the lab. Because otherwise, I'm spilling out everything for you. So think about what your own question, write it down somewhere and try it in the lab session. Then I'll discuss the answer with you. Okay, so I've covered the whatever theoretical sounding questions I cover here, lab related in the lab. Now, the objective is executing subclass specific functionality. So here, what we are going to do is, see this, read this. Here, when you say student is a person. So what all is available to the student? It is not directly accessible, but in the student class object, you have a first name, last name, you have student additional details. But when I said subclass is a superclass plus something additional, so tell me, can subclass add add additional behavior for the can subclass add additional functionality? Of course, yes. So here, what is that additional functionality? Student is the type who typically, I'm saying typically, not always, studies. And faculty is the entity or the type who is typically supposed to teach excellent, teach well, teach great. Okay, so that is the additional functionality we are going to add. So let's do this much, and then we will solve this option, and then the whole thing will start making sense. Okay, so let's continue, and I'm closing all of it. Control Shift W to close all. Here, somebody asked me faculty related seats. This is a lab question, so apply your mind sometime. Add the additional business logic. You think about it. I will throw back a question to you. Let us say first 10 seats in the, so okay, let's say not 10, 10% of the first 10 seats. I'm saying 10% of the first 10 seats are reserved for faculty and the remaining is available to student. So think about it. How will you do? You will have to add some more validation. That's why I said it is a lab question. Try it out. First, basically settle on upcasting, downcasting, runtime polymorphism, and then explore more would be my suggestion. So coming back here, I'm coming to the student class here. And in student class, here, we are adding add new functionality. Because I told you yesterday, subclass is not a subset. It is a superset. It can have the inherited functionality, plus it can add more. Example, your parents have left you with one house. So are they restricting that you can only have that one house, or can you build something on your own? Of course, you can build something on your own. Who's stopping you? So that is your additional functionality. So add new functionality, or I can say add new behavior study. And I'm keeping it all simple. So here, I'm adding a method here, public void study. And here, what I want to do is, I want this following thing. I'll tell you, and you will give me the Java code. That is how we interact all the time. So I want this to display. I'm not returning anything. You can see that. So this should display what it should display. The students, let's say first name, and I want the verb studying in, and what should appear is course name. So if the student's first name is, let's say, Rama, and if she has taken the course of Spring Boot, so what is the output I expect? Through SOP, Rama studying in Spring Boot. Get me that. Great, Shubham. So tell me, I am waiting for you. Displays SOP. I just want to see how your mind works, how you solve it. So Gaurav has given me, Mohad has given me name, first name and all. Guys, you will have a compiler error. I'm saying both of your solutions are identical. They will get a compiler error. Can you access the first name sitting outside? It's a private, outside the class. Of course not. So people are telling me now super dot. That means you have not done the revision. Super dot first name will again be the compiler error. Using super dot, you can only access the members which are accessible. So Pushkaraj is saying, super dot toString, yes, is wrong answer. It gets me first name and last name. I'm saying I only want first name. Guys, answer is a getter. So in such case, I don't want the full name. I just want a getter. So where is it I have to add the getter? Tell me. Where should I add a getter? In the person class. Dictate the getter. When I say dictate the getter, give me the method declaration. Write the method declaration for the getter of the first name. Okay, don't take off blindly because I'm not accepting any blind answers here. Here, let me open this. Take a look at it and tell me how will you write the getter for this first name? I want exact answer, declaration. Okay, public string, get first name is a very right answer. Okay, so here, I'm writing everything with a comment. Add a getter for first name of the person, which could be student or a faculty, right? So here, what is the syntax of the getter? Typically, getters and setters are for accessing the state. So they are kept, typically I'm saying public. Sometimes it can be kept protected also. The return type is the type of the data member, which is string. And then you start with the get as a keyword and then go camel casing. So what was the name of the property? What was the name of the state? First name. So uppercase F and do this. How many arguments will you pass to the getter? 0. None. Getter is for getting the details. So how will you pass the arguments? And here we are not doing any role checking, such as is it a manager, is it an event organizer? I'm directly returning return. And what you will return is either you can say return this dot first name, but since there is no clash, I can drop this and return first name. More correct, more explicit will be this dot first name, but either one will be equivalent. So this is optional. Understood everyone how to supply the getter? Is everyone clear on the getter stuff? If required, we will write a setter also somewhere. So if you are clear about it, can you skip all this time? Can you avoid wasting time and generate it from Eclipse? Answer is yes. That is why, guys, people come to IDE. So how do you generate? Source. Can you see the option? Generate getters and setters. IntelliJ also has a similar option. And here, now it is telling you what you want. So here, expand on first name. And can you see this? Select. So it is saying 1 of 4 selected, get first name and generate. So initial week, the first week in Java, I typically tell my students, don't use all this help. Otherwise, later somebody asks you write a getter, write and setter, and you don't know how to do it. That is a big mess. That is a big problem. So if you say, oh, I can do it confidently with Notepad, with a piece of paper, go ahead and use Eclipse. But otherwise, write it yourself. Okay. So this is either you generate or you write. Done. Now let's come back to the point. The point being writing this method. So tell me, here people had already answered me. So sys out. And now I want to first appear the student's first name. So tell me, how should I use it? Should I use, what is it called? Super.get first name or only get first name? Answer is super keyword is not required here. Guys, you can simply say get first name. What will compiler do? Compiler will check in this code, this class. Is there any get first method in student? No. Then it will check, are there any inherited? Is there any inherited method? Of course, yes. So this is the case where super keyword is optional. So whether you say explicitly super.get first name or you simply say get first name, it will 100% work. Whereas if you drop super dot from here, what will happen in this case? I told you yesterday already. It will definitely cause recursion. Yes, Himanshu, you don't have, this is not an overriding method at all. So here it will cause a recursion. Here, no issues. But if you want to be explicit on the first few days in OOPS concept, you can write yourselves super.get first name. Fine, absolutely okay. But I told you rather, it is not compulsory. And then I'm just adding the student, whatever the student name is studying in course, whatever. So for getting the course name, can I access the course from here? Of course, yes, it is in the same class, private member. Private members are accessible to the same classes. So I can simply say plus course. Clear enough? Last question before I say something else. What will happen if I add @ override annotation here? If I add on line number 27 at override annotation, what will happen? When I say what will happen, I mean compile time error, run time error, or nothing. 100, how can you say nothing? Of course, it is a compile time error. You are telling the compiler that this is the overriding form of the function. And overriding from what? From the base class. But which is the base class? Which is the parent class? This class. Person does not study. A student typically studies. Are you getting my point? So this is not a correct form. This is not at all. Somebody already said this is not an overriding form at all. So you cannot use it. Immediately compiler shouts. What is it shouting? The method study of the type student must override or implement a super type method. And this is not an overriding form at all. So don't blindly apply things. I hope now the concept of at override annotation is helping you, is getting clearer. I keep telling you guys, give yourself time. Allow me some more time so that everything will be clear by the end of the day or what. Okay, so this was here. Now this was easy. Easy in the sense this is done. Now I'm going to do the similar thing in the faculty. So here, I'm not modifying. I'm extending. Extending means I'm adding a new behavior. Add new functionality. Functionality, behavior, it's all the same. Action basically. And to keep it simple, a faculty is supposed to teach. So now, if I want the output as the first name of the faculty, expert in or can train, can teach in these technologies. How do I get this? You understood what I want? I want the faculty's first name. You can go for last name anytime. And training in these particular subject matter expertise. So after SOP, can I access the first name directly from here? Of course not. That is the reason we have supplied a getter. Get first name plus SME. Absolutely correct. So here, I'm just using control space. So it checks. See guys, keep your eyes open. When I say eyes open, be observant. It is telling you, it is returning the string and it has taken it from the person class. So good enough. And here, expert in whatever subject matter expertise. So that can be done easily. So what is it we have done so far? What we have done so far is we have added a new functionality specifically into a subclass. I told you, inheritance, when you go from superclass to subclass, it is generalization to specialization. So all the generic features such as first name, last name, getting the details, we pushed it to the superclass. And now we are adding the specialized features, specific features meant for a subclass. Understood all the statements so far? Is it clear? Okay, so now solve the last one. Last one means next one rather. So here, see this. So here I'm saying again, option 4, option 5, whatever, I don't remember. So user is going to input the seat number. You have to do the validation. Everyone knows how to validate the seat number with the index and all. And in case of a valid seat number, if it is a student, invoke the study method. If it is a faculty, invoke the teach method. Okay, so that is what we are doing. So again, let me tell you, extremely important discussion or rather extremely important point. So let's do this. Okay, so here event organizer app, I'll just add an option. Display specific participant details. I'll say option 5. Invoke subclass specific functionality. When I say subclass specific functionality, that doesn't exist in the common superclass. It has been added. Study method has been added by student. What was that? Teach method has been added by faculty. So that way. Okay. So invoke subclass specific functionality. So that's your menu added, modified. And here we are going to do the case file. It will take you easily today. 1 hour to revise the classwork. So please open that readme, open that sequence document, open that readme inheritance polymorphism, and then read accordingly, then solve accordingly the code sample. That's my request. So start. What is the prompt? What is it I'm going to ask user for? Give me the inputs. What is the prompt I should make? Enter the seat number. Like before, I could combine these two cases. I'm not combining. I have a point there. Enter seat number. Okay. So sorry. Okay. So here is your enter seat number. Done. Tell me. Oh, okay. Before I say this, now what will happen if I copy paste this line here? Before pasting, I want your answer. If I paste this line here, you will get a compile time error. Guys, different students get stuck at different points. So I'm trying to just help each and every one of you. Why there is a problem? There is a duplicate variable. You have already declared this index variable within this switch context, within that scope of a switch. So how can you add a duplicate variable? So of course, you can't. In the same scope, you cannot do that. See, it's a small point, very, very basic point, but still, if you are feeling lost here, you should not. So here I have done that. Validation is the same. So I'm not wasting your precious time at all. So here I'm saying else branch is also the same. If branch we have yet to write. So here now we come to the this thing. What is it called? Real D. So focus on okay. Without that, before that, rest of the code other than the if branch. 100% clear? Okay. So now focus on this. So here I'm going to do something. So let me ask you. I'll do it in this manner. Instead of talking in English, let me talk in Java. Index. I was just thinking, what should I do? So tell me, will I ever get here? What is it called? Array index out of bounds or null pointer exception? No, because we have already validated index has to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than counter. So no such question. Fine. Now, observe carefully. I'm making an assumption. It's a bad assumption, but still let me make an assumption. Suppose a student is sitting there. I've decided the student is sitting there. Don't ask me why. You'll know why in a minute. So in that case, if I say P dot study. So after adding the parenthesis and the semicolon, tell me, compile time error or no error? You understood what I said? I said after adding the, what is it, parenthesis, method brackets and the semicolon, compile time error or no error? Answer, people are giving me 50-50. Answer is compile time error. This is what is the starting of another topic. Okay, so focus on the statements I'm making. Don't think of anything else. Here, first question, are you getting a compile time error or are you getting a runtime error? C or R? Answer is compile time error. You got that? Now. So now I'm saying, I already made the important statement. Compiler checks it by the type of the reference and JVM resolves it by the type of the object. So can anyone tell me, as far as compiler is concerned, what is the type of P? It is person. Okay. So which is the class it will go to? Where it will try to locate the study method in object, in person, in student, or in faculty. Of course, in a person class. And do we have in the person class the study? Of course not. This is a subclass specific functionality. So everything falls apart. Everything fails. How do you know what I'm saying is correct or not? Just take the cursor there and you will know your confirmation. The method study is undefined for the type person. So I'll repeat the last 2-3 statements. Guys, wake up. They are most important statements. One of the most important statements. I'll write it down. Java compiler checks it or resolves it. Resolves by, you tell me, type of the reference or type of the object. Answer is type of the reference. Okay. So now the next line. Can you tell me what is the type of P? Type of the reference P. Is it a person or is it a student? It is a person. And why compiler error? That is because since the compiler, since there is no study method defined in person class. Okay. So read this and tell me, is the error completely clear? The whole thing revolves around the fact the compiler is having a limited intelligence. It is kind of dumb. It is the JVM who will actually create the objects dynamically and assign the pointers, assign the references. So your poor compiler, being limited in intelligence, limited in knowledge, always solves it by the type of the reference, and everything falls apart because there is no such method. And the classic fact, the life fact, does parent inherit anything from the child, or can child inherit the stuff from the parent? Is it parent to child? Parent cannot access anything. Are you understanding the fact of life? So children inherit from their ancestors, parents, grandparents and all. But here parent cannot access directly. You know that. So coming back to Java, here when you are using person type of a reference, trying to access, trying to access the student details, answer the simple question. Is every student a person? It's a yes or no question. Yes. But can you say every person is a student? Of course not. Because person can be a faculty, person can be a lab faculty, person can be an office staff, etc. Are you understanding it? So that is the reason you have, it doesn't work automatically. So tell me, what is it you'll have to do? What is it you'll have to tell the compiler? You will have to do the downcasting. Downcasting is the word. The whole topic is downcasting. See guys, upcasting happened here happily. Can you see this? This is the example of your upcasting. Why it works implicitly? Why it works as implicit cast? Because every student is a person. But like we said just now, you can't say your compiler cannot allow this because every person is not a student. So here I'm keeping it under comment. I'm writing it in the next line. So here enter downcasting. So tell me, downcasting means what? Climbing up the hierarchy or climbing down the hierarchy? Obvious question, dumb question. Yes, it is climbing down the hierarchy. So this downcasting is required for, of course it is, inheritance hierarchy. Okay. And here you are going from, so when I say climbing down, in the current example, here, this is not done automatically, not done implicitly by the compiler. And you know the reason. The reason being, since every person cannot be a student, it can be of a different type. So here you have to do the explicit casting. So the type of the reference, see this. Here, the type of the reference is P. So tell me, from person, where do you want to climb down to? If you want to call the study method, you want to come to the student. Okay. So here, we have done the typecasting in primitive types. Today, I'm showing you that in reference types. So which is the typecast you want to do? Student. But what is it you want to pull down? P. So I'm putting it in a round brackets to give the correct understanding. So tell me, what is the type of P? Person. But what is the type of this entire highlighted one? As far as compiler is concerned, it is downcasted to a student. And now, if I say dot study, sorry, your compiler goes by the type of the references. So here, this entire type is nothing but the student. So can you tell me now where it is going to search for the study method? Object, person, student, or faculty? Obviously to student. Okay. So this is your example of downcasting. So I'm of course going to run it and then give you 10 minutes break. So tell me, will this downcasting always work? Or it may fail sometime? I'm asking you, will work or will fail? Okay, so tell me when it will work and when it will fail. Because you're right, it might fail sometime. No, Ankit, it's a vague answer. Okay, so let me ask you precisely. Suppose this is my event structure. This is my array structure. Okay, wait a second. Where is my this? Okay, so here, imagine that this is how my event, that participant array is filled. So can you tell me for which iteration? Sorry, not iteration. There's no iteration. There's no loop. So if I give the seat number as 3, will it work or will it fail? Of course, it will work. You remember seat numbers are given by 1. So 1, 2, 3. It's a student. So you are actually downcasting a student type of object to student. There is no illegal downcasting. There is no invalid. Student is a student. So compiler we have already satisfied, but JVM will also not raise any exception. But if I suppose give the seat number as 1 or seat number as 2, what will happen? See, who is sitting in the first 2 seats? Faculties. And here you are trying to cast a faculty into a student. So answer me, guys. Is faculty a student? No. In the real life, yes, faculties have to keep learning. So we are student all our lives. But that is a philosophical part. I'm not talking about philosophically. In our organization, in our inheritance hierarchy, is faculty extending from student? No. You got the meaning. So here, of course, this is beyond the compiler to understand. Poor compiler just goes by the types. So what it checks is P is the type of a person and student is below it. So allows this. So who is going to detect this error? Java compiler or Java runtime? Yes. You're still saying compiler when you are seeing that there are no compiler errors. How can you make such a wrong? How can you answer such a wrong thing? JVM detects it. And then it will throw you the name, throw the exception. So I'm just stopping here by showing you the one's working, one's not working, and we'll discuss the solution after 10 minutes break. But first, let me show you the problem. Think over the break. So suppose I say I got 100. So I got sufficient capacity. Let's see. I'll be copying this data and storing it in a file every time. Writing it is so boring. What is that? So let's say 2020, last in graduation year, course taken, fees paid, and the marks obtained. Okay, let me add a faculty registration. Okay, A2, B2, the experience, and the SME. So here, so just confirm whether our details are correctly stored. So as you can see, student has got registered and the faculty is also registered. So who is sitting in seat 1? Student. Who is occupying the second seat? Next seat? Faculty. Everyone knows that. So now I'll say option 5. And if I give the seat number as 1, error or no error? I mean, no error, runtime error or no error?
Runtime error.
Of course, no runtime error. Student is a student. So you're not doing anything illegal about it. So you got the message. You remember our study method. The first name, that is A1, studying in course Java. You got that. And the moment I do this, if I give the seat number as 2, what is happening is, who is sitting there? A faculty. And with that downcasting, you are forcing the student type of object to be casted into faculty, and there is no is a relationship. So all you will get is class cast exception, one of the most important topic in core Java. And since we have not done any exception handling, the moment there is a runtime error, can the code continue or has it terminated? C for continue, T for terminated, aborted, of course. And read the error message before I give you 10 minutes break. The name of the exception is class cast exception. It is from the exceptions are all classes in Java. I'll explain that in the exception handling. And it tells you so nicely, so clearly. So it is telling you that faculty cannot be cast into a student. That is where you are doing the illegal casting. So wake up. So I'll just summarize by 2 lines and stop here. If you want to access the common features between a superclass and a subclass, do you need downcasting? Answer is no. What is the example? ToString. Whenever we were using ToString, we never came across downcasting. So when is downcasting required? If and only if superclass reference is pointing to subclass object, person pointing to student or a faculty, and you want to access subclass added functionality such as study or teach. The compiler doesn't understand because person is not a student, person is not a faculty, rejects it. So we applied downcasting. But if you do the downcasting blindly like we did, you may end up, in case of illegal casting, which is the exception you saw, class cast exception. So this is the problem associated with downcasting, and the solution and the further things we'll discuss after 10 minutes break. So think it over in that. If you want, I can share you this code. Like you know, if you just want to have a look at it. If you don't want to look at it, fine, enjoy break. So this is that event organizer app which I have sent you. Let's have a 10 minutes break and resume in 10. See you around. Okay, guys, welcome back. Let us resume from wherever we had left. Okay, so I hope everyone remembers. So let me ask you as a recap and then we will proceed. So I hope you have understood two conversions. One is upcasting, one is downcasting. So can you tell me which one is implicitly done by the compiler? Upcasting, downcasting, both or neither? Upcasting is the correct answer. So give me an example of upcasting, not the one which you have seen. I'll tell you the scenario. Give me a second. Your fruit and mango scenario. So give me one Java line in your fruit scenario to show me the example of upcasting. I hope you are typing. Exactly, absolutely right. Fruit f equal to new mango. Very right. Or I can say fruit f equal to new orange or f equal to new whatever cherry, banana, etc. So all are fruits. Everyone is clear? So that is an example of upcasting. So when you say fruit f equal to new apple or new mango or new banana, will your compiler give the error or will compiler implicitly do the casting? Answer is no error. It will implicitly do the casting. So when you say fruit f equal to new mango, are you climbing up the hierarchy or climbing down the hierarchy? Climbing up the hierarchy. Absolutely correct. So you are going from mango to fruit. And why compiler does the, what is it called? Upcasting implicitly? Because, yes, anyone wants to tell me because mango is a fruit. Well said, Gaurav. So here, compiler 100% knows thanks to that extends keyword. Any mango you pick up, whatever variety, is a fruit. Or likewise, apple is a fruit, orange is a fruit. So thanks to this is a relationship, compiler okays it. And so you require, oh, okay, last question. When you say fruit f equal to new mango, are we talking about direct referencing or indirect referencing? Indirect referencing, absolutely correct. So here my last question. Okay, I'll not make it vague because you'll say that we never understood your question. So here is it. So the question is, okay, I don't want to mess up this sequence. You're going to have a lot of such practice in today's lab session. So do join in time. So the question is, I'll write it for you. So fruit f equal to new mango. And if I say here f dot est. So first question, will there be any compiler error here? Error or no error? Answer is no compiler error. Absolutely right. This works to upcasting, indirect referencing, superclass type of reference pointing to subclass object. So now, can you tell me what will compiler check here? So I'll start the statement for you. It will check for the test method in which class? Compiler, I'm saying compiler. Compiler, no, wrong answer. Those who said, Abhijit, you gave wrong answer. Mango, you said. Compiler, guys, goes by the type of the reference. So what is the type of the reference? Fruit. So compiler will check and you have added, those who have solved yesterday's assignment, you have added, that is the reason I asked you to add fruit with a no specific test, right? So of course, compiler is okay. But tell me, JVM goes by what? Type of the reference or type of the object? Type of the object. And what is runtime polymorphism? The test method is going to be called 100% clear, but the test method to be called on which object, that is decided at the runtime. So anyone wants to tell me whose test method JVM will call? Of course, mango's test method, and whatever you have written there, sweet or juicy or whatever, that will get printed. Okay, so here you don't require any downcasting because superclass reference is pointing to subclass object. Great. And you are trying to access the common functionality which exists in superclass, which exists in superclass. All clear? All the statements clear as a part of revision? Okay. Now I'm saying, imagine, suppose, okay, mango is a fruit which can be pulp. There's a mango pulp. So suppose you added a new functionality in Mango class. So what is that functionality? Let's say something simple. Public void pulpit or pulp. You know, all the fruits cannot be pulp. For example, there is no concept of a, what do you say, a banana pulp. I mean, at least I have not heard it. I have not tried it. So here, so mango can be pulp. So now tell me, if I write f dot pulp, tell me what will happen? Compile time error or the runtime error or none of above? You'll People are saying no error. That means you've not understood what a word. Guys, compiler goes by the type of the reference. I said it 10th time already. I'll be saying 90 times more. So here, what will it check? What will compiler check? Compiler will check if the pulp method exists in which class? Yes, in the fruit class. And does it exist in the fruit class? All fruits cannot be pulp. So that's not a common behavior. It is only a mango specific behavior. So 100% you will get Java C error. You got me? See, when you look at it from the different scenario, suddenly understanding increases. You start feeling better, I hope. So 100% Java C error. So is there any way to tell the compiler, don't look into fruit, but instead look into mango? Is there any way? Of course, yes. Yes, parent cannot access the child members. Answer is downcasting. So what should be the downcast here? What should be the cast here? So is it fruit or is it mango? Of course, a mango. Okay. And here, F. So adjust the brackets correctly. Otherwise, again, you'll get it. So now tell me, what is the type of F here? Fruit. That does not change. But when you use this whole, what is the type of the highlighted code? Of course, a mango. And when you say here pulp, now tell me, compiler will search in which class for pulp method? Fruit or a mango? Of course, mango, and it exists. So, great. So, this is where explicit downcasting is essential, is mandatory, is required. You got me? And 100% JVM doesn't have an issue. JVM is smart. When I say JVM is smart, at the runtime, stack, heap, method area, everything is memory allocated and the objects are created, classes are loaded, references are assigned. So JVM has the full clarity. Okay, now allow me to continue. So here if I say f equal to new orange, imagine that you have created the orange as a subclass and you of course are giving some color and weight and price and all that. I don't care about that. So first of all, tell me, compiler error or no error? Quickly. Answer is no error. Okay, because this is a standard example of upcasting. You got me? Every orange, can I say every orange is a fruit? Yes, orange extends a fruit, so compiler doesn't find any problem. And now if I say f dot pulp, tell me, I'm going more than slow over this because I know how critical that concept is. So tell me, compile time error, runtime error, or none of above? Compile time error. You got that? You know the answer because compiler goes by the type of the reference and in the fruit, F type is still what? Fruit. So there's no pulp method. So now tell me, so of course, this is your Java C error. Okay. So now if I do the downcasting here, tell me what will happen. Compile time error, runtime error, or actually it will call the pulp method and it will all work. I'm asking you for this line, what will happen? You saw it, runtime error. Which runtime error, guys? Call pulp Suprava. Orange doesn't have, orange is not a pulpy fruit. Orange is the one where I said orange has. Orange, we will add a method juice because orange juice you can extract. Okay. Pulp is the method specifically defined in mango. So here you are trying to cast what is F pointing to orange? You are trying to cast an orange into a mango. So tell me, is it valid casting or is it an invalid casting? Legal or illegal casting? Of course, illegal casting. And what is the name of the exception you'll get is class. I mean, of course, it is all camel case. Class java.lang. class cast exception. And what will that error message be? The error message will be what cannot be cast into what? Tell me what it will tell you. What cannot be cast into what? Orange cannot be cast. Of course, fully qualified name and all that. So orange cannot be casted, cast into what? Into mango. And it is obvious. Can I say a mango is orange? I hope not. It sounds so weird to your ears, right? And this is what is your problem statement where we stop. Are we 100% clear about what I said? Yes or no? Okay. So now, when you see the problem, of course, you have a solution. So there are two solutions Java offers you. One is the easy one. There's a keyword called as instance of. So I'm going to show you that. And towards the end of the core Java, when I take the reflection API, I can show you different ways. So here, now we are looking at the next part, which is a instance of keyword. Okay, since it is such an important keyword, I've got a separate readme on that. So here, compulsory reading exercise of today. You should know why static methods cannot be overridden. I have explained, but there could be some, ambiguity. You should be reading regarding instance of as well as readme, inheritance, and polymorphism. Actually, it touches upon more things also, but at least read that much. Read whatever we have covered. So let me just open instance of and start reading with me. Okay, I'll highlight. And read it. I'll explain it word by word. Ragini, your point is, I'll answer that question after people are done with this. Because I need to show you that unless until I see that. I show you that I can't really answer. I'll answer you in 5 minutes. Don't worry. Let me explain this. Okay. So, what is instance of? Instance of is a keyword in Java. All Java keywords are all lowercase. And mainly, what is it used for? Is it used for testing any compile time information or RTTI? RTTI stands for runtime type information. This is abbreviated as RTTI, not my short form, standard short form. So today is the day of not interfaces. Interfaces is tomorrow. So you will understand, you'll have a better clarity even for the revision tomorrow also. So instance of operator, it's a runtime operator actually, comparison operator. It is used to test whether a particular object is the instance of a specific type or of specific class, or is it a subclass, or is it something called as interfaces implementation class. Interface and implementation class all tomorrow. So read this meaning carefully. And even if you don't understand, I've got 10 different questions or 10 different examples to explain to you. Don't worry. So when you say, first look at the usage. So when you say A instance of B, instance of returns you a Boolean. Boolean as in true or false. So this expression returns true. If the reference A, the left-hand side you supply is the reference. Whether it is pointing to, I've given you all in detail, is it pointing to the class B's instance? Point number 1. So is a relationship. Basically, it is returning, it is checking only is a relationship. Or since subclass is a superclass, so it will check is it a subclass of B. When I say directly, immediate subclass, sorry, or indirect means deeper, like grandparent to grandchild. So that is your indirect subclass, or that implementation class tomorrow. See, words do not tell you a lot of meaning, so you'll have to be patient and give me 5 more minutes on that. So this is the summary of all, but that summary will be clear when I ask you these questions. So instance of is also known as comparison operator because it is going to compare the instance for a particular type. And what are the possible return types? True or false. So these are the standard questions or popular questions asked. So if you do any time instance of for null, instance of keyword, instance of operator returns false. It doesn't throw any exception. For the subclass object, if you are checking it from the superclass reference, of course it will return true. But for superclass object accessed via subclass reference, it will return false. Guys, things are not clear unless until you think in example. So this was just a warm-up. Now take a look at this hierarchy. Can you understand this hierarchy? I think I had drawn it yesterday. So tell me, which is the supermost class here? Which is the superclass? Object. Extended by employee, extended by manager, extended by sales manager. Simple enough. Another hierarchy, of course, you have object, extended by employee. So till employee it is the same. You can visualize. Yesterday I had drawn the tree and employee extended by worker. So tell me openly, are the hierarchies clear? Yes or no? Okay. So now what will be the output? That is what will tell you. Output means only true or false that way. So first look at this. If I say employee equal to new manager, compile time error or no error? Quickly. Will there be any compile time error or will there be no error? No error, because thanks to upcasting. Can I say every manager is an employee? Yes. So because manager extends from employee, manager from manager, you are climbing up the hierarchy to employee, upcasting. Clear still? I hope the whole thing is clear. Now when you say, listen to this. If you say if, or okay, forget if and all, we'll put it in if condition soon. What will be the output here? You have only two choices, true or false. Are you understanding the question? So how do you do this? So tell me now, and I'll show you how to do it. Of course, your answer is true is correct answer, but I'm explaining. So what is it you place to the left-hand side of instance of reference? And now you are right-hand side, you are supplying the type. So it is nothing but is a checking, but at runtime. So can anyone tell me, when you see this statement, what is the type of the object you are creating? Which is the type of the object you are creating? Is manager. So tell me, is manager a manager? Yes. So this returns you true. Totally correct. Okay. So you are checking that this is the manager type of object. Manager is a manager. Fine. Now the next one, E instance of employee, true or false? Answer is true. Somebody said false because can I say what is the type of the object you are having? Manager. And tell me, is manager an employee? Is a relationship at the runtime? Tell me yes or no. Yes. So this is what I have said here. So here subclass object and you are using instance of superclass reference returns true. So this will also be true. Now solve the next one yourself. It's just two options, true or false. Answer is, again somebody is saying, Sumit is saying false. After third iteration, I was surprised a little bit. Here, guys, for Sumit or anyone who is thinking false, what is the actual type of object E is pointing to? Answer, Sumit, and likewise. Answer that. Unless until you answer, how will I know where your confusion is? Manager. And here, you are just trying to access or rather check, is manager an object? Yes. So this will also return true. Because of the simple fact, manager is a manager is an employee, manager is an object, all true. Now solve the next one. True or false? I have covered all possible examples. Of course, now people are realizing, what is it I have got? What type of object? Manager. So is manager a sales manager? No. Sales manager is a manager. So fruit is like how fruit is not an apple or orange, it can be anything. So in the similar manner, employee is not a sales manager. So this will definitely return you false. See this, it's an employee type of reference, but it is actually pointing to what? A manager. And manager is a sales, I mean, E is reference type you are checking, but it checks by the, see this first line I have said, RTTI, runtime type information. The moment I say runtime, you have to go by the type of the object. What else? Okay, tell me the next one. E instance of worker, true or false? Of course, false. And why it is false? Give me that also. Give me the reason. What is not what? Give me the reason. You are right. Yes. So here, worker or other way, say it other way. You have got a manager. So you have to say manager is not a worker. Okay. So of course, false. And here the reason being manager not being a worker. Now, I can't have a duplicate declaration. So suppose I nullify the reference. I say E equal to null. Okay, so of course, this will be marked for garbage collection and all that. That's fine. But after that, if I say, if E instance of either employee or manager or sales manager or worker or your object, what will be the output? True or false? How can null be instance of anything? Okay, so this is what is the very important discussion. So guys, I'm again repeating at the cost of boring you. I joined the lab session little late because you need some, understanding time, your own time, personal time. So go over all these things and play with the code. Okay. So this was about your regarding instance of. More questions, if you're still not clear at all, do ask me in the lab session. So now I need to fix it. We need to fix it. So here the important statement I'm saying. Okay, I'll ask you as a question. Will you need instance of checking in? Your choices are upcasting, downcasting, both or neither. Answer is you will require it only before downcasting. Upcasting is 100% going to work because every child subclass is a superclass. You're absolutely right in pointing that out. So tell me, in short, here, let me ask you, will you need any instance of checking in case 4? Answer is absolutely not. Because what is happening here? You can see what is happening here. This is participant syntax super type reference pointing to subclass object. So you're climbing up the hierarchy, no issues ever. JVM is smart enough to resolve it. But will you need that? That means instance of checking in case 5. Everyone knows the answer, yes. Which is the line where we are doing the downcasting, please? Line number, please, where you are doing the downcasting. Line number 77. So now tell me, should I do the instance of checking before downcasting or after downcasting? B or A? Obviously before. See, I keep asking all dumb questions. And no question is a dumb question, by the way, quoted from Head First Java. No question is a silly question or dumb question. Any question is of course a good question. So the point is, if anyone is feeling lost, I should help. So of course it has to be done before. So here, in order to avoid what? Which exception? Avoid class cast exception. Must. This is a must. Till I take you to another interesting topic in Java called as generics. But that is 3 days or whatever days away. It's a little advanced part of core Java. So in order to avoid the class cast exception, must use instance of checking before performing or before doing, simple words, downcasting. So settle on what is being showed. You have entire lab session to ask questions. So here, before doing the downcasting, I have to make a check. So anyone wants to tell me that I already gave you the syntax of instance of checking. Anyone is wanting to give me that? Exactly. If P instance of student study, else if. Yes, absolutely correct. Very right. Very good. So here, what is the instance of is a keyword. What do you add to the left hand side? Reference type. Which is the reference under check? P. So start. If P instance of, what is the right hand side? It's a simple question, simple answer. Whose method you want to call? Where you want to do the downcasting? Student. So phrase it like English. If person is of the type student, then do the downcasting and access the subclass specific functionality. Otherwise, check if it is a faculty and do it accordingly. So if P instance of, on the right hand side, you supply the type. Don't make the mistake of saying P instance of person, because it will return true for both. Student is a person, faculty is a person, and again you will get your class cast. So if P instance of student, fine. Then there is a zero chance that you will ever get a class cast. But instead of a student, there could be a faculty which could be occupying the seat. So tell me, in our event currently, how many types are there? How many types of participants are there? Only 2. So I can simply do else. I can simply do else part. So just give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Sorry, urgent break. I'm so sorry. So here, you don't have to check for faculty. The person can be, the participant can be either student or a faculty, right? So even else will work. But suppose I change my scenario and I say this thing. Instance of doesn't show specific methods, downcasting shows that. But anyway, all those questions, you have just heard it. So give yourself some time. Anyway, so here, will I require to check if it is an instance of faculty? In short, will I require else if P instance of faculty, or just else will suffice? Just else will be sufficient. So in this case, I will say else downcast it to faculty. But what is it you are pulling it down? You are pulling down, you are climbing down the hierarchy from a person to a faculty. So let me ask you, what is the type of P? Still a person. You're not changing that. Don't be under wrong notion. But what is the type of this entire highlighted stuff? Is it a person or is it a faculty? Of course, a faculty. Simply say dot. And you will see, you will be able to access the faculty specific method, which is teach. So before I go ahead, save and test it, I have a question. Tomorrow, if I bring in student, faculty, and a guest speaker, then in that case, will this else be sufficient or will it have to be replaced by else if? Of course, else if. So you'll have to say else if P instance of faculty, then let him teach, let her teach. Else, if it is not a student, not a faculty, then it has to be a guest speaker. So you can continue with this. Okay. So that is what is your, what do you say, working example or the use case of instance of followed by downcasting. I'm going to, of course, you're going to revise all that. I will give you my set revision also in the lab session by asking you different questions. And then we are going to put all these concepts together to a very nice use case. All that in the lab. So let me just run this. I'm telling you, today, tomorrow, mark them as very important days. So let's say, suppose number of participants is this. This part you know, so I'll not explain. It's a 4. And the marks obtained. And suppose I register for a faculty. Java. Okay, so just confirm what is it we have got. So as you can see, I've got the student details registered. I've got the faculty details registered. Everyone understanding this? Now let's check it. I think case 5, right? Yeah, case 5. So case 5. And Suppose I choose the, what is it called? Seat number as, let's say 2. Anyone wants to tell me? Runtime error such as class cast exception or the output? Yes, number of checks. Abhijit, your English phrasing is wrong. Number of checks will increase if there are number of types, if you keep on adding the types. Answer is no runtime error. And whose details will be printed? Students' detail or the faculty details? Sorry. I mean, not details. I messed it up. Whether the study method will be called or the teach method will be called. The teach method will be called. You remember we are not printing details here. Printing details was a two-string common functionality. So as you can see, A2 is teaching, or it is an expert in whatever technology. So teaching this particular technology. Whereas if I say 5 and if I give the seat number as 1, which instance of will work accordingly. So tell me, P instance of student will return true or false? Currently, of course, true, because it is a student and student is the one who is studying. So its study method will be called completely decided at the runtime. So what we did was we added a runtime type information checking via instance of, and whatever may be the type user gives us, it can be different types. And I was telling somebody your checks will increase, of course, else if checks will increase, you can access common details directly and specifically added functionalities indirectly via downcasting preceded by instance of checking. So these are the highlights of today. Polymorphism, method overloading versus method overriding. There is no virtual keyword. All the methods can be overridden unless and until they are either private. Private methods cannot be overridden. Static methods cannot be overridden. And final methods cannot be overridden. Okay. But all other methods in Java can be overridden. Then you heard about this. What was that? Annotation. So which is the annotation you learned? Name the annotation we looked at override annotation. Will it appear on the overridden method in the superclass or overriding form in the subclass? Where will it appear? In superclass or subclass? Of course, subclass. How can you say superclass? Superclass is not the one who is overriding. It is the subclass who is overriding. Is it a compile time annotation? Is it a compile time instruction? Or is it a runtime instruction? Metadata is nothing but more information. It is a compile time instruction. And then I showed you upcasting, downcasting, instance of checking with a practical scenario of arranging the event. So this is what forms a very, very important part of your understanding of object-oriented principles. Looking at the time, I'm just mentioning something, but actually the mentioning is nothing but your abstraction. We're just talking about abstraction, but of course, you can't really start with such an important topic so late in the day. So all this is done. I'm just checking. The equals method, whatever I'm saying about equals method, I'm going to give you a small assignment to test it out so that you will understand. And there are a lot of things that just solve and all. We will go through this together. Yeah. So I don't want to start with the abstract keyword actually. Just give me a minute. Okay. I'll see whether I have got some readme. So I'll just pick up this readme and just explain you the concept and we'll stop. Okay. So what all you have seen so far in object-oriented programming is encapsulation, inheritance, and today you looked at polymorphism. Okay. So now the last remaining part is abstraction. So first 5 to 6 days, tomorrow, including tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to actually enter into abstraction, partial abstraction followed by complete abstraction. That will give you some basic idea about object-oriented principles, and then you will be applying all these concepts to all the further topics. So Okay. So before I open my readme, let me ask you. There are very what do you say real life examples. Object oriented is all about real world. So let me ask you a question. Imagine you are standing rather in front of an ATM and you want to withdraw money. Simple use case I'm giving you of abstraction. There are so many hundreds of use cases around. I mean examples around. So tell me. So when you are standing in front of an ATM to withdraw money, so at that time, what is it? What is it you think about? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'll give you the options. Don't say abstraction because that's an abstract answer. Anyway, so let me ask you. Let me give you choices. So do you only think about your PIN code and the passcode or whatever password and amount of money to withdraw? Or do you seriously think about how this ATM chip, how this card reader is going to work internally? How is it going to contact? How it is going to contact my underlying bank? And which is the transport layer such as HTTP or SOAP or whatever, HTTPS, it is going to worry? Of course not. Who has time when you need money so urgent, right? So that is your hiding the complex requirements or hiding the how it is to be done, how this whole ATM business works. That is the implementation part. So hiding the complex details from the user and supply only the interaction, only the essential information. Diksha means the interface. How, what is your ATM? An interface. It is just a facade. It is just a front end where you just type something, key in some numbers as a whatever PIN code and your amount, and you get the job done. So this is a classic example of an abstraction. That is why I said abstraction, inheritance, polymorphic behavior is everywhere. Just look around and you will find it. Encapsulation is everywhere. So now with this given example, you can read this. And don't worry, I'm not going to start with coding. So just what do you say? Just look at it. So please read this much only. Okay, so let me explain this and we'll stop here. So here, abstraction is the property or it is the important foundation concept in object-oriented practices with which you can only expose the interface, the user interface, or you can say essential details. I like to use W words. So when you are standing in front of an ATM, which of the following is required? What is to be done or how it is to be done? Yes, what or how is exposed is required for the user, what is to be done. And the internal working, which is your implementation details, complex details, that is the whole thing is totally hidden, abstracted. I'll give you an example before I go further. Your JVM is a classic example of abstraction. You write a .java source such as test.java. You compile it to a test.class file. That's your Java compiler output. And this code, which is platform independent, is no way capable of talking or making your OS calls or running it on a particular native operating system. So what does JVM do? JVM abstracts, JVM hides all the internal OS details as well as hardware details, and it allows us to think in Java. So that is another good example you can quote of for an abstraction to your interviewer. Anyway, since I'm not mentioning it, I'll stick to my example. So hiding the complexities, or to be precise, hiding the implementation details from the end user, your client, can be easily achieved via abstraction. So famous scenario, there is TV, there is a scooter, I mean vehicle and all that, so many scenarios. Just look around. So here ATM is considered from the end user's point of view, a money rendering machine. Okay, you can either deposit or withdraw, whatever. Rather than nobody wants to know about the complexities. So real life example, a person walking into the ATM, she just knows how to withdraw or deposit funds, but she doesn't really have to know, client doesn't have to really know how ATM is going to contact the underlying bank, how that card reading and security, whether you are the person, PIN and all, how it is going to be validated, none of our concern. So that is what is nothing but abstraction. And now coming to Java, what are the two ways by which you are going to achieve abstraction? So first I'm going to show you tomorrow abstract classes. So that is where you will apply the abstraction, but you will see that is where you will just achieve the partial abstraction. What is partial, what is complete, you'll know tomorrow. And then what? Then the next relevant topic is the interfaces. And you will see that you can achieve 100% abstraction, complete separation between what is to be done, which is method declaration or specification, versus how it is to be done, which is implementation, can be nicely separated using something called as interfaces and implementation classes. So whenever I start discussing things tomorrow, of course, your compulsory reading is at least go through these first basic lines, and then I'm continuing the keywords. So if you have energy, time, will, and all that, you can continue reading. When I meet you in the lab session, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you in writing, this much of reading is compulsory. But if anyone wants to read extra, please go ahead. And I have talked about, there is an abstract keyword and I'll start discussing abstract methods tomorrow. Then I will talk about something called as abstract classes. And then finally we'll reach at complete abstraction in form of interfaces. But I don't want to mix up two concepts. Today, happily, understand, enjoy, digest your polymorphism. See the understand upcasting, downcasting, of course, with assignments, with examples and all that. And tomorrow we'll enter abstraction. So this is what I'm stopping at. Is anyone having any immediate questions, urgent questions, or any detailed questions? Of course, I join you in the lab. You can ask me there. Okay, so that will be all. I'll be, as usual, day-5 data will be uploaded shortly on the Google Drive. You start looking at it, and all those reading instructions, or first revise the classwork. That itself you should spend at least 1 to 1.5 hours. Finish that, and then I'll be there, and we will do the revision together and some more hands-on. So before I come in, guys, please try to finish your pending work so we don't waste today's time in solving yesterday's stuff. That will be all. See you in the lab.